Here we go. Okay, guys, today we are going to be. Oh, wow. This makes me so happy too that you guys have actually gotten in here and already started sharing some connections and some predictions that you made while you were reading. And just notice that if somebody else has already typed something in there and you want to add something, just go down to the next line and maybe even change the color of your text or something, and then just say, I also had a connection. So don't worry. I mean, if somebody's already answered the question, you are more than welcome to type right below them. Okay, so we will talk about some connections and predictions. We'll just review really quickly what our goals are. Our goals for book club are to communicate with each other by sharing our thoughts and questions and ideas about the book. Our second goal is to collaborate with each other and to reach a common goal and learn more about the theme and purpose of our novel. Oops, went a little fast there. To think critically and to look at problems that we come across in the text and, other ways that people think about those problems and how to solve them. And to use some creativity when you're doing your own book club jobs. So that's where your creativity gets to come into play. Okay. Oh, cool. Somebody's even added some comments right next to their job. That makes me really happy. Okay, so then we will talk about a couple new questions, and it looks like somebody has already gone in here and given me their thoughts, which makes me happy. And then I had told you last week that I was going to email you some vocab words. Well, I didn't do that. I just saved them for this week because it's an entire section and you have plenty of time. Oh my goodness, somebody already went in and found the definition of all of them. So, wow, we will go through those. That is awesome. Raise your hand. Who did that? Was that you, Dakota? That's great. Wow. Okay, and then we'll talk about your next assignment at the end of class. So here we go. Let's back up to the beginning, and we will start sharing our jobs. First things first, who was the discussion director last week? Who had the job of discussion director? Let's see. I can take a look. It looks like we had Vero and Josh, and they were both discussion directors. So, Vero, give me a thumbs up if you are ready to share your discussion director questions. Okay, I'm going to unmute you, Vero, and you can. Sorry, let me find your name here. Okay, Vero, you are unmuted. Go ahead and share your questions.
Who do you think the old man is?
Okay, so who do you think the old man is? You guys can raise your hand or you can type something into the chat. Who do you think the old man is? Okay, here's some people typing into the chat. Michael says it's a random person, so the old man was just some random guy. Any other thoughts? Somebody thought it was a magic person. What did the old man do? What has he done so far in the story? Let's see. Go ahead, Jaden.
He gave James those magic green crystals.
Yeah, so basically he probably was some kind of magic man. However, we have somebody who just typed into to the chat that they think maybe they were actually trying to trick James. So that old man is maybe a somebody trying to play a trick on him. Um, how many of you? Let's just be show by a show of hands. How many of you think that the old man who had the magic green crystals is a good person who wants to help James? Okay. How many of you think that he's a bad person who wants to harm James? Okay, so we haven't quite figured it out yet, but that's awesome to see that there's some differences. It's all in how you interpreted the book so far, and some people thought that he was a bad guy. Very cool. All right, Vero, what was your second question?
Why did the old man give James magic crystals?
Okay, so basically, why did the old man do this? Go ahead, Jaden.
Um, cause, cause he just, cause he knew how troubling his aunts were.
Okay, so he knew how troubling his ants were, and you think he wanted to help him, and these green crystals were going to somehow help him? Tyler, what is your thought?
And good luck. He was helpless.
Yeah, James was feeling kind of helpless, and so the old man was doing whatever he could. Good. And Michael said to help him not be miserable. Okay, I like that answer. Vero, I think you had probably one more discussion question. Go ahead and share it.
Why do you think lots, I mean, hold on. Why do you think a lot of people came to the garden?
Oh, so yeah, why do you think a lot of people would come to the garden? Go ahead, Tyler.
So it can be some of the first people to see a giant peach.
So they could be some of the first people to see the giant peach. Okay. Why
Yep.
else would people come to the garden? Maybe because this isn't
To,
something they see every day, right? This was odd. So maybe they didn't know what was going
I
on.
think they, I think, do people think that this is a world record?
Oh, yeah, they think it's a world record. And in fact, I'm sure that it is because nobody can grow a peach that big in real life. And that's okay, Michael. We know that you didn't get that far, but you're going to catch up this week. So you're all set. Okay. Vero, do you have anything else you want to share before we move on to the next person?
No.
Okay, cool. We had quotable quoter. That would have been Dakota and Tyler. So, do either of you want to volunteer to go first? Okay, Tyler, go for it.
Um, just hang. Okay, it's page 6,
Okay.
and it's a sad part.
All right. Share the sad part that you found on page 6.
Poor James was still slaving away on the chopping block. The heat was terrible. He was sweating all over. His arms were aching. The chopping block was too large and blunt thing for too heavy for a small boy to use. And as he worked, James began thinking about all the other children in the world and what they might be doing at this moment. Some would be riding tricycles in their gardens. Some would be walking in cool woods and picking up bunches of wildflowers. And all the little friends who he used to know would be down by the seaside playing in the wet sand and splashing around in the water. Great tears began oozing out of James' eyes and rolling down his cheek. He stopped working and leaned against the chopping block, overwhelmed by his unhappiness.
Oh, he was overwhelmed by his unhappiness. I think you picked a very sad part. Tyler, why did you pick this part?
When I'm sad, I'm not sad like that.
Oh, that's great. That's kind of making a connection, actually. You're connecting and saying that you are different when you're sad. Um, Tell me the difference. What's different for you?
Um, when I'm usually sad, I never get that sad.
He's never had an opportunity where he's been that sad before. And I'm very happy for that for you. Any other thoughts on the sad part from page 6 that Tyler shared with us? Okay, well, let's go on to page 24, and that was Tyler's exciting part.
Okay. Almost without knowing that he was doing, as though drawn by a powerful magnet, James Henry Trout started walking slow towards the giant peach. He climbed over the fence that surrounded it and stood directly beneath it, staring up at the great giant bulging side of this bulging side. He put out a hand and touched it gently with the tip of one finger. It felt warm and slightly furry, like the skin of a baby mouse. He moved and stepped closer and rubbed his cheek lightly against the skin of the suddenly, and when then then suddenly, while he was doing that, he happened to notice that right beside him and below him, close to the ground, there was a hole in the side of the peach.
That's right, there was a hole in the side of the peach. So Tyler thought that was an exciting part. What made that exciting, Tyler?
Um, that James was being tortured by his aunts, and he didn't get to do anything fun for a long time. So I think that is pretty exciting for him. Exciting for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting to see this peach, and then there was a hole in the peach. And so that kind of makes it, more exciting. Like, what's going to go on now? Who's going to come out of the hole, and what's going on there? So, any other thoughts on the exciting part that Tyler shared? Anybody want to comment or add anything? Now, just remember, next week you can bring your book and see. Tyler was really smart. He told us, I found that on page 6, so you could actually flip to page 6 with him next week. And then maybe something will come to mind that you want to share about it being sad or that you want to share about an exciting part. But we have Dakota, who also was a quotable quoter. So he has a couple more parts of the book to share with us. Go ahead, Dakota.
Page two, it
Okay.
was sad because James's aunts were mean to him and abusing him
That's right. They actually were abusing him. Why does he live with his aunts?
because his mom and dad were eaten alive in London.
Yeah, well, his mom and dad are definitely not with us anymore, so he has to live with his mean aunt. That's right, or aunts, I should say. Um, okay, what was another part that you had, Dakota, that you'd like to share?
On page 24, I thought it was also exciting because it was starting to get interesting.
It was starting to get interesting. Okay, what made it interesting? That basically that the peach was has a giant hole in it, and there might be something inside of it.
It was pretty much the same part that Tyler said.
It was the same exciting part. That's kind of cool that you guys see. I like it when people have the same job from week to week because it's exciting to see what people think differently about. And then actually, they both found the same exciting part on page 24. So that's kind of cool too. Um, Josh, you're with us. If you can, turn on your webcam. And Tyler has another thought, it looks like, that he wants to share. Go ahead, Tyler.
Can I share my question prediction?
Absolutely.
Thanks. I'm on page 9, and my prediction was, aha, the old man whispered. You never guessed that he was crouching a little now, and pushing his face still closer and closer to James until the tip of his long nose was actually touching the skin of James' forehead. It was text to world, and it reminded me of my grandpa because he has a
Oh my
really big
goodness.
nose.
Oh, because of the big nose. Okay,
And
that's
my
fantastic.
prediction is that James is gonna climb into the peach.
And that James is going to climb into the peach. That is your prediction. Okay. While we scrolled back up here, did anybody else write down any connections or predictions while they were reading? Okay, go ahead, Dakota.
Um, for my prediction, I thought for the book before I started reading it, I thought that James was growing a peach tree and that something would happen to the tree while it was growing, is what I thought at first.
Okay, so at first you thought there was something that he actually lived in the tree and that something would happen to the tree. But now what do you think, Dakota? Now that you read a little bit more.
That the that in the next chapter, I think that the peach tree will give up and snap
Okay?
while James is crawling inside of it.
Okay. All right. That's a great prediction. Anybody else while we took a break from our book club jobs and scrolled back up here? Go ahead, Jaden. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me unmute you, Jaden. There you go, Jaden.
Um, I think James is gonna find bugs.
Oh, why do you think that?
Cause he actually found a spider in his house, in his room.
Okay, so he's going to find more bugs. And are these special bugs?
Yes.
I think they are too. They're going to be um, bugs that actually have a little bit of personality and talk to each other. So, Tyler, do you have something else to share? Go ahead.
The bugs are gonna be big and can talk because of the green crystals.
Yes, are going to be
And
big
he
and
tripped
able
and he
to
dropped
talk.
all of them. He tripped and dropped all of them, and they went to the ground, ate the peach big, and
That's right.
it got some bugs, and they made a hole and went in.
Okay. So basically, that green crystal, or green crystals, I should say, um, went into the ground. And remember, there were too many of them. And obviously, it affected not only the peach, but it's going to affect these bugs as well. They're going to turn a little bit different than your normal bug. Okay, Will, do you want to share something? No? Okay, I thought you were raising your hand there for a second. Okay, let's scroll back down and we'll go back to our jobs. And we had a summarizer. Michael, I'm going to unmute you and I'm going to share what you sent me. And so basically, all Michael had to do was tell us a summary of what we read. And we actually read chapters 1 through 9, but he read chapters 1 through 6 because he had some other things going on. But Michael, why don't you, because your microphone's on, tell us what you read in chapters 1 through 6?
Well, at first it was kind of sad when James's parents got eaten and he got sent away to his mom and aunts. And the other part, um, what was that?
I think that might have been somebody joining us. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so when he went to his aunt's, they made him work all day, nonstop,
That's right.
and Sponge and Spiker were not nice at all. So when the old man came to him, when he met the old man, he told him the magic spell and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and gave him the little green things. He spilled them, and it made the peach tree grow a peach. But I do know a little extra. I know for one thing, he does climb in the hole. I
Oh,
actually read the book and I summarized, like, I think till about 10. I
good.
remember at least that much.
Good. Perfect. He does climb into the hole. And he does definitely go on an adventure in this book. Um, why do you think that James would take a chance and crawl into a giant peach instead of staying at home? Let's see. Go ahead, Tyler. Why would he take a chance like this?
Because his aunts were mean to him act and treated him disrespectful.
That's right. Yeah, his aunts were really mean to him and his life was terrible. So he thought, really nothing could be worse than that. So good. All right. Was anybody else the summarizer this week?
I don't think.
I don't think so either. I think you might have been the only one, Michael, and you did a great job. Yeah, you remembered quite a bit, so that was great.
I did a couple misspells too. I remember that.
Oh,
Like,
well, we're not going to worry too much about that right now. That's you did your job and you did good. So, all right,
okay.
let's see. I'm going to go back to our assignments and we had a connector was Lucas and he's not with us, but Will was also a connector. Um, it doesn't look like Will has his connections ready for us, but he will next time. So we'll move on to the next person. Jaden was the illustrator. Okay, Jaden, I unmuted you. Did you draw a picture or did you do it on your computer? Okay, perfect. Yep, we can see it. Go ahead and describe it for us.
Um, I actually drew a picture of James actually seeing a passage into the peach.
Oh, very good. Can everybody see that? Perfect. Okay, you had the fun job. I like being the illustrator. Yes, Tyler, you have a thought. Go ahead.
Can I say some stuff about what the old man said to James? What he told James to do before eating the green things?
Of course.
Okay. Um, he told James to get a pail of water and put all the little green things in them. Pull out 5 of his hairs just to get him and put them in there, just to get him going, and then gulp them all down.
Right? But what happened instead?
He tripped and dropped them all.
Yeah, he
And
tripped and spilled them.
and right before he got some, um, they dug into the ground.
That's
Borrowed,
right.
borrowed.
And I'm going to back up for just a second. Jaden, can you hold up your picture one more time? We had a couple kids who didn't see it. Okay, so there's the picture of James and the peach, and you can see the bugs inside. Very cool. Dakota, did you see it? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool. All right. Did we have any other illustrators? No, we didn't. Josh, are you with us, Josh? Josh, I'm going to unmute you. Josh, say hello if you can hear me.
Hi.
Hi, Josh. You were also a discussion director. So, what that means is you were going to come with 3 questions that we could discuss. So, did you do that job?
Yeah, I saved it, but I can't find it.
Okay, well, maybe you just remember your questions. Do you remember what you had written down
No.
or typed? Can you think of a question you want us to discuss?
Uh, how do you think James felt when he dropped the crystals?
Perfect. How do you guys think that James felt when he dropped the crystals? Tyler, go ahead.
He felt bad and he actually started crying and went into a secret hiding spot.
Good, yeah. Will, how do you think he felt when he dropped the
Then
crystals? Go ahead, Will, your mic's on.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, like maybe he just did something that he wasn't supposed to do, and he's like, "Uh-oh," and then dug him, and then went and cried
Yeah, he felt
because
really.
he might have not supposed to do that.
How would you guys feel if you basically you're thinking that this is your last shot at happiness? This old man gave you these green crystals. This is your last shot at happiness, and then you trip and you spill them all. I mean, you'd probably feel very discouraged and kind of like helpless, and like that was your last chance and you just ruined it. So, yeah, it would be a really depressing feeling, that's for sure. Josh, do you have any other questions you want us to discuss?
I don't remember any other ones.
Okay, well, Michael has one that he'd like us to discuss. So go ahead, Michael.
I'm wondering why he picked that. Why did you pick that page? Why did you pick that question thing?
Oh, yeah, why did you pick that question, Josh?
Because I thought it was interesting.
Okay, so you thought that part was interesting when he spilled the crystals?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's great, guys. I like how you guys are actually discussing with each other. And Michael, thank you so much for, even though it wasn't your job, you decided that you had a question and you just chimed right in. So that was great.
Okay.
And I don't think that we had anybody be the word wizard this last week, which is just fine because we have a ton of words that I'm about to show you. Um, but before we get to those words, let's talk about these questions. And some people have already answered them, which is really cool. Oops, sorry, I scrolled a little fast there. Sorry, there we go. Why do you think Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker were so cruel to James? And why didn't James just run away? What made him so sad while he was chopping wood? Okay, I'm going to take Dakota. Let me unmute you. Go ahead, Dakota.
He was sad and mad because Aunt Spiker and Aunt Sponge wouldn't let him stop working for just a minute, and they told him that he couldn't eat until they were satisfied with the work that he did.
That's right. So he couldn't stop working. They wouldn't feed him. Um, he was too little. He was afraid of the dark. Um, oh, wow. Somebody also said that he was sad because, yes, he dropped the little green crystals. Any other thoughts? Darrow, go ahead.
No, I don't have
Oh, go ahead, Vero.
Go ahead, Harold. So, I think he was sad because his mom had to watch every move that he did.
I agree. His aunts were always looking over his shoulder. That's right.
And they sat on the porch with rocking chairs and drank something.
Yeah, so they didn't help. They just sat around and they ordered him around. Good.
Um,
Wow, I'm getting a lot of feedback. Okay, so I just muted everybody again. So if you have another thing that you'd like to share, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll unmute you, or type into the chat that you're going to answer the question and I'll make sure that I unmute you. Okay, question number 2. Where is James's hiding place? And do you have a special place that you like to go when things become too much for you? And when do you use this place? So somebody typed into the chat, you can raise your hand if it was you. His special place was the garden, and they do not have a special place of their own. Okay, Tyler, go ahead and share.
What? It froze. I heard some background noise.
I'm sorry, Tyler, what was that?
My computer froze for a little bit, so I couldn't hear you.
I know, that was weird. Will just said that his computer froze for a minute too. Basically, I just asked the question, do you guys have a special place of your own that you go to when things become too much?
Not really.
Okay, let's see. Dakota has a thought. Go ahead, Dakota.
I sometimes go out on the outside on the back porch and go underneath.
Oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, he has his own special place that he goes to when he kind of wants to get away from things. And Will, where do you go?
Me?
Yep.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now, Will?
No.
Okay, you just answered my question. You could type it into the chat and tell me where you can. And let's see, anybody else want to share? I know I'm getting some really bad feedback today. Tyler, do you have a special place you go to? No? It looks like I got a couple people in the chat that say that they just go to their room when they want to be alone. So that would make sense. Okay, here we go. James was spellbound by the growing peach. What does spellbound mean? And can you think of a time that you were spellbound? Okay, so we have the answer. Spellbound means that you're amazed. And who was this that last week was seeing an owl last week near my house and my cat running outside? That was you, Tyler? And Dakota also has a thought. So I'm going to take Tyler first and then Dakota. Go ahead, Tyler.
Owls eat cats, so I was amazed that it ran outside.
Yes, owls are pretty vicious, actually, surprisingly enough. So did your cat hopefully get inside?
He didn't get inside, but in the owl saw him. Apparently, he was just full. And but it was a big owl. It was like 2.5 feet.
Wow. So you were amazed by the owl. Okay. All right.
And I didn't know until my dad that owls eat cats.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. You got to be careful when you have pets outside. I'm gonna let Dakota share. Let's see. Okay, go ahead, Dakota.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. A time
Sorry.
when you were spellbound?
Um, when I was on the Tower of Doom, and I was all like, "Oh my God, I hope this will be fun and not scary."
Yeah,
And
that's
I just
fine.
couldn't move.
Absolutely. So, yeah, you could be spellbound maybe by the height that you were up at. You were really high above everybody. And that's a scary ride, that's for sure. Um, okay, we're going to move on. And if you guys can try to just keep your webcams on, it makes it a little bit easier to call on you. We'll go to an easy question, number 4. Oh, we gotta take a thought from Michael. Sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Um, when I went, you know that big thing that goes up, 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 and then it shoots right down?
Is it a ride?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, at the fair. Yeah.
Oh,
Can't you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one that goes up and then it shoots straight down. Yeah,
Ooh,
I was amazed how fast it went and how high it went. I and I really loved it.
how fast and how high it went. Those are great examples. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
you
All
can
right,
mute me
guys.
again.
Yeah, I'll mute you again, and then I am checking my chat though. So anytime you want to answer, I'll unmute you. All right, number 4. Compare and contrast life for James with his parents versus life with his aunts. Well, this was an easy question. I won't spend too much time on it. With his parents, he had the perfect life for a little boy. And his aunts, on the other hand, obviously were very mean to him and treated him like a slave. Okay, number 5. What item would you put in your suitcase if you were going to pack up and move to a new home? So go ahead and raise your hand if you want to share. If you were going to pack up and all you had was one suitcase, what would you take with you? Tyler.
My pajamas.
Okay.
No, no. My dad and my me. I actually answered it this. My book, James and the Giant Peach.
Okay, yeah, that's good. You would take your vocabulary or your book club book with you so that you never got behind on your assignments. That is a fantastic response, Tyler. Okay, Josh, what would you take with you?
I would take my clothes
Okay, why would your clothes be important?
because I need something to wear.
Okay, so you would be worried about, well, actually, that is one of your basic needs, shelter and warmth, and of course, food and that kind of thing. Vero, what would you take?
I would take I would take lots of school supplies and art supplies.
Ooh, I like that answer, Vero, so that you could keep busy and not fall behind in your work.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, Will, I'm going to unmute you. What would you take with you?
My computer and clothes.
Okay, why would you take your computer and clothes?
To have something to do and just to have clothes.
Good, so that you didn't obviously have to wear the same
Something to
thing.
wear.
Good. All right, let's see. Jaden, what would you take with you?
Um, Food and clothes.
Ooh, smart answer. Why would you take food with you?
So you have something to eat.
Yeah, it's
So
a
you would
basic.
starve to death.
Yeah, so you don't starve to death. Good. I'm gonna take a thought from Michael and then Dakota. Michael, what would you take with you?
My clothes and my DS.
Ooh, that's an interesting answer. Why would you take that with you?
Take what?
Your
My clothes
DS.
or my DS?
Your
Which
DS.
Um, Actually, my DS can connect to the internet, so I can actually do things on the internet. And I have
Oh.
something that can take good pictures. It's technically a camera, an internet, and a Game Boy.
Oh my goodness. So it's all kinds of different technologies all in one, so you could do everything on
Yeah,
there. That's smart. That's really cool. Okay, Dakota, what would you take?
yeah.
I would take my hopefully my Xbox 360, my giant stuffed tiger, and clothes.
Your giant stuffed Tigger. That's cute. Okay, you would take that maybe for some comfort
Use it as a pillow.
as a pillow. Perfect. Okay, that was kind of a fun question. Um, Hopefully, none of you will ever be in that situation. And this is really cool. Looks like Dakota already got in here and kind of went through our vocab for us, which is really good. So we'll just go ahead and share a couple of these words with everybody. Yeah, let's go through them. First word we had was nuisance. A person or a thing or a circumstance that's an inconvenience or an annoyance. So a nuisance is a bad thing. Um, does anybody remember where you saw that in the book? Like, what were they talking about that was a nuisance? Let's see. Go ahead, Dakota.
They were talking about James because James got there and he wasn't working. And
Good.
they told him that the annoyance little brat.
Yeah. So the ants were talking about James. Good. Okay. Our next word was despair, and it's the complete loss of absence of hope. So if somebody has that feeling of despair, it's that complete, utter, helpless, sad feeling, and that's how James is feeling in the story. Ancient, belonging to the very distant past and no longer in existence. Do you guys remember what they were talking about when they talked about something ancient? Like where that was in the book? It's possible that you haven't come across it yet because this was supposed to be for like chapters 1 through 17, which you haven't read all the way through yet. And that's okay. Dainty. Dainty means delicate and pretty and small. So, what was dainty in the story? Do you remember? You can raise your hand, it'll go quicker that way. All right, let's take Tyler. Go ahead, Tyler.
I'm just gonna say James because it sounds funny.
Well, I don't think James was quite dainty, but Vero told me that she thinks the peach was small and pretty.
That's what that first was.
And Jaden, do you have another thought?
Oh. Um, not that. A flower?
Yeah, a flower is dainty. Did they talk about a flower in the book? I don't think
Yeah.
they did. Okay. And here's what I'm going to do with all the rest of these words, because some of them you haven't come to yet, because that's chapters 1 through 17. I'm going to, in just a couple minutes, send out a list, and I'm going to tell you a couple of these words to find in the book. So all you'll have to do is basically tell me what page you found it on and the sentence that you found it in, because we already have the definitions. So that is awesome. So next time that we get together, we'll just talk about where we found it in the book, because sometimes words have a different meaning, and it just depends on how they're used, what the meaning is. So, Michael has a thought, so let's let Michael share before we go on.
Actually, there was a flower in the story, the bloom of the peach. Don't you remember? The bloom of the peach?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
So
okay,
they
so
may have been talking about that flower.
they might have been talking about the flower on the peach, right, that was dainty and small and pretty. That's probably where that was. And I'm not sure what page that was on, but okay. Let's scroll down. So this is just a bunch of vocabulary words. Your next assignment is to read chapters 10 through 17. Okay. You're going to have to do your book club job. I'm going to give you a couple vocab words to find what page they were on. And then you're going to make one prediction or connection by the next time that we meet. Okay? And we actually don't have our virtual classroom again until October 25th. And the reason why is because next week is fall break. So you don't have school next week. And then on October 22nd, which would be our normal virtual classroom, we're gonna cancel it that day because a lot of people are still on vacation that day. So, Tyler, go ahead. You have a thought?
Can I do a connection and a prediction?
Yes, you definitely can. You can
What
do
the?
both. So look for something I'm about to send you in just a couple minutes, and it's going to talk more about what chapters to read, your book club job, what vocab words I would like you to find the page number for, and then of course a prediction or connection. Okay?
You forgot to mute me.
Sorry, Michael. I'll mute you now. But we could go ahead and just kind of wrap it up here. And does anybody have any questions or anything else they'd like to share before we're done today? Okay, Dakota, let me turn on your microphone. Go ahead, Dakota.
Did I do wrong by putting all the vocabulary words definitions?
Yeah, you did. You did a great thing. I didn't expect anybody to go and do all of the words. So now what we'll do is we'll just find them in the book so that we can share like the sentence that we found them in. So yeah, that was great. Tyler, anything else?
Can I make a prediction right now? Because I already know one.
Well, no, don't ruin the story. Let's let Will
I know.
talk. Go ahead, Will.
What job am I for next week?
Okay, well, let's take a look. Okay, so it might take you just a couple seconds for it to show up on your screen, but you'll notice that next week would be October 15th, and we actually don't meet on October 15th, so we don't meet
Oh,
again.
yeah, it's
Yeah. So we don't
Okay.
meet again until 10:25. And Will, you are the group summarizer. Okay?
okay.
Tyler, go ahead. Sorry, Tyler. There you go.
Can I be called Coder next time we have VC again? Well, in language arts.
Well,
Yeah.
you will definitely get a chance to do all of the jobs. And it looks like next time, Tyler, you are. Hold on. Let me look. You are the group connector next time, so you get to make a bunch of connections. Okay. Jaden, did you have a question?
Actually, I was actually gonna ask something at the end of class.
Okay, that's fine. Very cool. Hopefully everybody can see that I pulled up the schedule again. You also have this in your document list, so you can go back and find the schedule and make sure that you know which job that you're supposed to do. All right, guys, it has been fun. Let's wave goodbye to each other.